I felt pretty good coming out of our test session. I hit a personal best, and I only had a purge button to replace. Dad and I made the 4-hour trip down to Edgewater after I got off work on Friday. We got in around 11 o'clock, but they were still racing. They ran classes and we drank beer until about 3 a.m. It never gets old spending the night in the vehicle that I'm going to race. But morning came and it was already hot. I even learned that this Amazon weather station that I bought actually works and is accurate. Now I know a lot of drag strips have the word park in their name, but Edgewater actually lives up to it. This is like a park that someone put a drag strip on. It's beautiful. The Blastro crew took care of us with an amazing breakfast. We had several hours before we were going to be racing, so we had plenty of time to walk around and check things out. These ride-along dragsters are pretty wild. Since we were exhibition vehicles, we got to park under the grandstands right by Nitro Mike and the wheel-standing PT Cruiser, and the Scott Rods gassers, which are known for their huge burnouts. One thing that struck me was, after all these years of doing no prep races, how pretty race cars are. Especially in this beautiful environment. Seriously, I felt like we needed to buy tickets for a canoe trip or something. This was also a Nitro Chaos weekend, so we saw all the fuel cars and the teams, which have some pretty serious setups. Now obviously slingshots and nitro funny cars are cool, but my favorite is Brian Coleman's Fuel Coupe. He drives this thing on drag week, and he told us he can switch over to the fuel system so fast that he can make it cackle at stoplights. That's awesome. They finally started calling cars to the lanes around 3 o'clock, and I definitely overdid it in the sun. It was going to be a long day. I spent most of the afternoon trying to find shade and cooling my body down so I didn't get heat stroke. They took a lot of people away in ambulances. Now Tom had raced on a Friday night, and he had burned a spark plug and they were chasing a lean condition. So they worked on Blastro most of the day just to hopefully get it running for the race. I know there's no prep cars running close to these numbers, but there's nothing like Nitro. Next up were the Scott Rodscasters. After that, it was time for our first match race. Now I have nothing for Blastro, so they set us up on a staggered sportsman tree, so at least had a fair chance. The biggest question from Tom's crew was how far I was able to stretch out a burnout. I already knew in my mind I was going to put on a show. For having about a third the horsepower, I thought it did pretty well. Left a little early. He was probably intimidated. After that, one of the Blastro crew decided to go for a ride in the dragster.
Oh my gosh, you guys are crazy.
There were a lot of cars and a lot of classes, so it was a very long program and we had hours until our next race. I had turned the two-step up to 3,500 and it launched hard and actually pulled the wheel out of my hand, so I was late on the nitrous button. I was determined not to make that mistake the second time, and I was going to hit the button as soon as possible. I've heard it said that you don't actually drive a fuel altered, you just hang on. Now I know some people with some pretty cool golf carts, but Nitro Mike's with a V8 stuffed in it is probably cool.
Like it's even got stuff. No, that's awesome.
We finally got called up for our second race at 11 p.m. It was hot, I was exhausted, and the van started idling funny. But this is what we came here to do, and it was time to give it all we had. Remember my plan of hitting the nitrous as soon as I can? It was awesome until it wasn't. Tom left a little early on that one too, so he was definitely intimidated. We had to wait for all the races to be run and the program to end before we could finally catch a couple hours sleep in a cool hotel room. It was an awesome experience that I'm so grateful for, and I'm excited to do it again.